Hello, good day, and welcome to Total Battle Complete Guide. Today's video, I am going to go over every captain there is in the game, where you might use them, what benefits you get from them, and where essentially is the clever place to put them in an army and an attack. So stay tuned. Okay, so as you know, in Total Battle, there are many different captains. And many people maybe get confused or mixed up or unsure about where best to use those captains, at what point in the game, and how much time you should really spend on them, what levels you should get them to, etc, etc. I'm currently in my main account, and the reason I'm using my main account is this is where I have the most captains active. If I use a smaller account, they won't be there. So there's no point in me showing you them, because I can show you what gear I've put on them by using my main account, as opposed to by using one of my smaller accounts where A, I might not have that particular captain, or B, I might not have decent enough gear on them. So in the captains, we'll work from the bottom to the top of how I have them in my lineup here, and why and where I found them important and useful to use. Straight off the bat, when you're a low-level player and you're just starting the game, there is certain captains that you really do need to try and get as soon as possible. I'll touch on the first one that's most important, because he isn't straight away active or easy to get at the start of the game. You do have to work your way across one of the Academy research trees to get him, and that is Captain Carter. I know he is high up my list here, but he's high up my list for a reason. As you can see, I have him in the 300 mark. When he gets to level 300, he doesn't get any better at crypting. His gear makes him better. The artifact makes him better. But once he gets to 300, you can pretty much stop leveling him up at that stage. If he levels up, so be it, because he's going to level up probably as you continue to crypt with him. Captain Carter, for me, is one of, if not the top 3 captain minimum in the game. What I mean by that is he is such an important and integral part of your growth in the game, solely from the fact of him going to crypts, and when he crypts, he gets silver, he gets other materials from crypts, and obviously he gets the material to be able to make gear. Okay, and the gear is going to be what's important to you, giving your captains and or hero a boost to strength, health, maybe silver creation, food production, i.e. That's why he is such an important and integral part. If and when you can get Carter, he is, without a doubt, the most important captain in the game, and he should be the only captain in the game that you use to crypt with. I see people still sending, I've seen players of 30, 40 million might sending 3 captains to a crypt, and none of them are Carter. Now, I know sometimes you will see larger players use a couple of different captains to crypt, but they're doing it because they have made godlike gear or omniscience godlike gear to crypt with for those captains, because at a high level you get a lot of tar and you want to be able to get as many chests in for your clan. But low level players of 10, 20, 30, 40 million might, using Captain Tengel, Captain Doria, who else have I seen, Captain Farhad, to go to a crypt, a level 10 or a level 15 crypt to open it, is absolutely pointless. They may be thinking that they're doing themselves a favor by increasing the levels of those captains by going to the crypt. You get such little bonus from crypts, experience point bonus, that you really are just wasting tar by doing that. So Captain Carter should be probably the first captain on your list that you need to work at getting. Once you have him, you need to work at giving some good gear to him. The better the gear, the higher his crypting efficiency, and epic crypting efficiency if you've gone to the trouble of making omniscience gear. What he wears on him to go to a crypt will also improve how much you get from a crypt. Generally, it only improves the actual gems or enchantments that you get in the crypt. It doesn't really improve the amount of silver he gets from a crypt, but obviously it's all about saving tar. The less tar you use, clearly the more crypts you're going to be able to go to, and the more crypts you're able to go to, the more materials you're going to get from that crypt, and silver and other bits and pieces. So when you get Carter, try and equip him with some decent gear. Okay, I'll look at the gear for him in a second. B, try and put on a decent gem on him. Gems you get from rare crypts, level 10, level 15, level 20, 25, and 30. Okay, the higher the crypt you go to, obviously the more it costs in tar, but also the better gems you're likely to get from it. The enchantments you get 2 places. You used to only be able to get enchantments from daily jobs. Since they have created the Olympus event, where you can get the Torch of Olympus, which is what I have on him, this artifact here. But since they've created the Olympus event, when you go to the lava fountains, you can also get enchantments. And you can get them in quite good quantities. And obviously the higher crypt you do during Olympus, during the lava event, the better the enchantment you're going to get. So you will find that you'll be able to get these enchantments, and you will have a decent quantity of them to be able to level up. And the higher enchantment you can put on him, the better. So that's Captain Carter. For me, probably one of the top 3 captains from early on in the game. He's probably the second top captain in the game, bar maybe one other one. Important, very important. After that, there are a couple of captains that you're going to need to work on early in the game. The reason you're going to have to work on them is because at the start of the game, it is all about building your city and completing research to improve your guardsman level, your specialist level, if you have an opportunity to do conquest point runs. And those 2 captains here are Captain Aurora. She basically will give you a boost to your construction speed, i.e. any of the buildings that you upgrade in your city, she will give you a boost to that, okay? The benefit for having her early on, you may spend a lot of time on her, getting her up to a very high level. The thing about construction speed is when you're low level and you've only started the game, you will find that you're in probably a small clan, okay, maybe with only 20, 30 members, and all similar size to yourself, or maybe smaller or maybe slightly bigger than you. The crypt, the chests that you get in from that clan with low level players and new players to the game will be so small that you won't be getting a lot of speed ups. Speed ups are what Captain Aurora will help you with when it comes to building. And by speed ups, I mean when you click on a building to upgrade it, okay? I'll go into my city here just to show you what I'm talking about. So let's just say I'm going to speed up the tar building here, okay? The cost will still be the same to me of materials to build that upgrade. But when I click upgrade to the next level, you can see here the time left, okay? Now the time left to build that building will be helped by her level being higher. Also, it will be helped by her having good gear on. But having good gear on, again, is going to be paramount to your Captain Carter having done that and got the good gear. So again, a lot of the captains, a lot of leveling up these captains will fall back to how well your Captain Carter can crypt. So you see where this is going, okay? It's so important. As I was saying, if you're in a clan at the start, when you click the help button for other clan members to help you, if you're in a low level clan, they're only helping you a small amount each time, but the speed ups are going to be so important. So when I click help here and click speed up, these are the speed ups that I'm talking about. Now, don't worry about the fact that I have thousands and tens of thousands here. I'm just showing you that these speed ups will be very hard to come by when you're early on in the game. And anytime somebody helps you to speed up, it increases or decreases the time it's taking to build that by a percentage. I think it's one, I'm not sure, I think it's maybe 1% or thereabouts. But it is a very small amount, okay? By her having a decent set of gear on her, and the gear to put on her is the Honored Ruler gear. It's a boost for your economy, but it helps you with things like construction speed, which she is important for, research speed, I'll touch on that in a while, the production of building resources, that's basically the production of resources that you can use to build buildings in your city, okay? So how high should you level her up, I hear you ask? To be honest, I think she is probably, she's at her peak, the highest you can get her, but she is less important than some of the other captains in the game. And if you can get an opportunity to move into a full clan, i.e. a clan that maybe has 60 to 80 or even 100 members where possible, you will get enough help from that clan to help you with construction speed. Not fully, you will still need speed ups, but again, the more players in the clan that are doing more crypting, the more speed ups you will get, okay, from chests, from the crypting that they're doing, and vice versa. So it is very important to be in a good clan at the start. So Captain Aurora, for me, I only went to level 100 with her. You can obviously star them up, and that's from the summoning circle, where you can get fragments to increase her level, and you can boost her that way with stars. But you also need to get your Essence of Immortals here, okay? And that essence is going to be harder to get than the fragments you're going to have to get to improve her. You will find that you will have lots of fragments, but you may have a very small amount of essence. So just be careful. Again, for me, I wouldn't bother going too much over level 100 with her. You can level her up quite quickly by making her attack epics. She is a captain for construction, as is Captain Farhad, a captain for research speed. But to improve their levels, to get them up, you can send them in attacks against epic squads, and they will level up quite quickly. So if you wanted to do it that way and forget about using the stars to improve her, then you will find that you can level up to 100 or 120 or 130 quite quickly after a few attacks against epic squads. So that is Captain Aurora. That's what she is useful for, only for construction speed. There is no point in using her for anything else, no point in using her for crypting, no point in using her as an attacker versus epic squads, because she doesn't give any bonuses or benefits to attacks. She literally is a construction speed expert. Not as important to get as you may think, so again, don't spend too much time on her. The next one, as I've just touched on, is Captain Farhad. Captain Farhad is very important captain to use again at the start of the game. You will use him probably up to the point that you're maybe going for G5 or G6, Guardsman 5, Guardsman 6. He helps you in research speed. So anytime the higher level he is going to give you a percentage boost to the size of his level. So in this case, he's level 135, and the research speed I'm getting a boost for is 135. I also have a research speed boost of plus 70% here. That's down to the equipment that he's wearing or the gems that he has on that equipment. As you can see, I have him with Swift Wayfarer gear, but that's just because I use him for another task. But you can see here the gems and how important the gems are. Again, this falls back to Captain Carter. Without Captain Carter, without a very well leveled Captain Carter, you're going to struggle to get any of these things in good quantities from crypts. I have him with a red ascendant level. I have done all my research, so he's not important to me anymore, which is why he's only at this. But again, the higher the gem that you can fit on him for researching, the better. Also, enchantment wise, you can get enchantments. This is a legendary enchantment. It's up to plus 11%, again, to any research speed. Anybody that's played Seasonal Kingdom will be well aware that the speed ups to do research during Seasonal Kingdom were really hard to get a lot of. And in Seasonal Kingdom, again, one of the first captains, in fact, the first captain everybody was pushed towards doing was getting Captain Carter right. You should really treat Captain Carter in that same respect if you're a new player in this game. You may have never heard of Seasonal Kingdom, but Captain Carter for sure. I keep talking about him, but he's just so important. you're nearly better off at the start of the game forgetting about doing any attacking except get your Captain Carter leveled up. If you got him up to 100, 150 or more, the higher he is, the more beneficial he will be to you through the game for getting all of the bits and pieces that you need from crypts to drive your strength and health and everything else in the game. So Captain Farhad, you may say, where should I get him to? Again, for me, he's probably somewhere between level 120 to 150. If you get him as far as that, don't bother going any further than him. You will get to a point where you've reached Guardsman level 5 or 6, and you will use him less, because at that point you will most likely have moved into a better clan or a different clan, and you will be getting regular speed ups from that clan and help from them while you're doing research. I.e. research, you may ask, what am I talking about? If I click on Academy here, you can see in here, these are all the researches that you can do in your Guardsman. You start with level 1, you then go to level 2, then to level 3, and the research speed that you need to do across this tree must be 10 out of 10 everywhere before you can get on to the next Guardsman level. So this is where Captain Farhad will help you to be able to do your research quicker. Basically, it's as simple as that. He is very important. Your research is extremely important, and as such, he is important, as I say, to level up to in and around level 150. Any more than that, again, for me, it's probably a moot point to go any more with him at that point. So that's 3 important captains in the game. Captain Carter, first place. Captain Aurora and Captain Farhad, probably joint second place earlier in the game, okay? You will get a point that you will stop doing them. After that, you can kind of have a bit of fun, but keep one thing in mind as regards all of these captains. Some of them have specific benefits against particular units. If you were attacking just normal monsters on the map, if you go into a monster's stats, for example, let's just click on this 32 Common Inferno squad. If you click on attack, you have 2 squads in this particular unit. Some have 1 squad depending on how low level they are. Some have 3 squads. Some even have 4 squads. In the case of this particular one, you have 2 squads that you have to attack. If you click the information button, you get to see what bonuses they have against your troops. So in the case of this, you can see here that this particular squad, the Fire Horse Rider, is a demon and it's a mounted unit, okay? So you want to basically find troops that will give you bonuses against mounted units to get the best out of your attacks. But you also have to bear in mind what features that troop has against yours. In this case, this is strength against ranged units, okay? So if we went and had a look at our army, for example, and we picked one of our ranged units, we can see that our ranged units get strength against melee units and against flying units, not against mounted units. So that's good for starters. We now know that ranged units, it has benefits against our ranged units, so we won't use ranged units in these attack. Let's go and have a look and see which of our units has benefits against a mounted unit. Again, which of our troops have benefit against mounted units? Our melee. If we come into our melee units, and this is the same across all melee units, it doesn't matter whether it is a G9 or you're all the way down to G1, okay? Guardsman level 1, they all have the same, sorry, that's arranged. It doesn't matter whether you are G9 or G1. All of these have the same bonuses as they go across against the same units. So as you can see here, our Guardsmen level 1 have strength against mounted units, and they are melee units, okay? And melee units, that troop does not have bonuses against my melee units. So we know that we could use melee units against this particular monster. Let's check what his second stack has. Stacks basically are, each troop is a stack, okay? So there's 2 stacks in this particular monster. So the second one is a melee unit, and it has strength against mounted units. So that's good. We now know that both of these troops, so we now know that it has bonuses against mounted units. So ideally, if we don't send mounted units or ranged units to attack this particular monster, we won't suffer too many losses, okay? And that's what it's all about in the game. But to go back to the captain that I was talking about there, these captains all at the bottom, okay, you will get early on in the game. You'll get Captain Lucius, and Captain Lucius has bonuses against mounted units. You then have Captain Yi Ho Sung, and he has bonuses against melee units. You have Captain Brann. I'll talk about him in a minute, but he has bonuses using siege engines, okay? And all of the siege engines, he basically gets assistance to the siege engines when they're doing attacks. After that, you have Captain Brann. He gets bonuses for all your ranged units. You then have, we won't touch on the legendaries just yet. You then have Captain Sophia. She basically gets a bonus depending on her level, a half of a bonus to the health of your entire army. After that, you have Ji Guaying. She gives a strength bonus to ranged units, and she gives a scout's strength bonus as well. You will use her later on in the game. She is quite a handy captain. After that, that's pretty much it as regards the captains. To touch on two more actually. We have Captain Ingrid. She gives a good boost to your monsters, both health and strength. She's definitely a captain you will use as you progress in the game. Hence why my Captain Ingrid is at 300. After that, then you have Captain Brunhild. Again, she's just an epic captain. You will get her early on in the game. She gives a boost to all your flying units, both health and strength. So you really can pick and choose what you want to do captain-wise from early on, if you are asking my opinion. And as you can see from the captains that I have down here, I haven't really got them past level 100. That's because I have used captains that are going to give me a better attack strength against epic squads. And epic squads are what you want to be attacking to move forward quickly in the game. So in essence, you can see that this is more about, there are lots of captains in the game. They all have benefits to attacking squads' strength and health, or health only. But this is more for me about what captains you shouldn't use rather than what ones you should. So as I've said already, Aurora, Farhad, very important at the start. Captain Carter, the most important captain I've touched on yet. After that, when you've just started out playing the game and perhaps you don't want to purchase any legendary captains, i.e. the likes of Cleopatra, okay, who's a legendary captain, Wu Zetian, who's a legendary captain, Helen, who's a legendary captain, but she's slightly harder to get. Any of the legendary captains, Minamoto, for example, Alexander, Leonidas, these are all legendary captains. And whilst you may look at them and on the face of it, you may say, oh, I really want to get him because he's going to give a boost of health and he's going to give a double boost of strength. The reality is that you're probably not going to use him that often. In this game, the way the game is built, it is really all about attacking foes that you're going to get the most valor points from. You're not going to get the most valor points from individual monsters on the world map. You're going to get the most valor points and experience points from epic squads. Okay, all the epic squads in the game. So, in taking that into consideration, really boils down to you using certain captains early on in the game and progressing them as fast and as high as possible. That being said, the most important captains for attacking early on in the game that you should be using are Captain A-Day. Captain A-Day will give you a guardsman health and strength boost to her level, okay? In my case, she's level 320, so they get a boost of health and strength for plus 320%. She will 100% be the captain that you will use mostly at the start of the game because she's giving your guardsmen that boost. When you start out early on in the game and you're in new kingdoms and you're in a kingdom that you can't get regular or any conquest point runs, and what I mean by that is CP points basically work in your research, academy research. They work for gaining your specialists and giving specialists boost of strength and health. And they are very hard to come by, but they're also very important when it comes to your army modernization tree. And the higher you can get on this, on your strength values, the better, okay? Strength values are more important than health values because, again, this game really is about attacking epics. Monster boost, again, is extremely important when you get enough dragon coins to be able to create monsters. But it is worthwhile saving them where possible. So you are going to want to get your A-Day as high as possible and level her up as much as possible because she will be the one that is driving attacks when it's a one captain attack against an epic squad. If you're doing an attack against an epic squad that you can take 3 captains, for example, you could use Captain A-Day. I would suggest you use Captain Logos because he will give your specialists a boost only if you have specialists. If you don't have specialists, there is no point in using him. After that, you want to maybe take Captain Brunhild as a boost or Captain Ingrid if you've managed to get her, okay? Because Captain Ingrid will give you that boost to your monster strength, again, if you're using them. If not, just solely concentrate to get valor points on Captain A-Day. It doesn't matter how high she goes. Ideally, you would be leveling her up to 100, 150, maybe 200 or more while you are starting and early on in the game, okay? She will be dying invariably, and you want to be sending her with a couple of stacks, i.e. guardsman level 1, guardsman level 2, and maybe even guardsman level 3, but usually you want to send her with a maximum of 2 stacks of guardsmen. So if you had guardsman level 3, you'd go with guardsman level 3 and guardsman level 2. You wouldn't bother with guardsman level 1 because you want to keep your leadership. You don't want to water down your leadership by using weak troops. So she really is important in the game at the start, okay? And the fact that she's the first captain you get, you should be using her every time you do an attack on something. There is one other captain that I'll talk about that you could use at the start. I did a video on this for Valor Point farming, as I called it. And basically what I mean by that is you're attacking monsters over and over and over again, getting Valor Points, but you're not dying. Captain Doria. I have had many a debate with people about Captain Doria. Captain Doria is a decent captain to use because she gives you a valor points bonus, but only if you win the fight. As you can see, it's only after her victory. If she doesn't win the battle, you do not get any bonus, okay? By having her leveled up, as you can see, I've got mine to 270. I don't use her anymore. Most people wouldn't use her anymore at this point in the game because you get to a certain level, you really aren't attacking anything else on the map but epic squads. And if you're using her against epic squads, all you are doing is maybe raising her level because every time she's going to die, and when she dies, every time you're going to get no bonus to your valor points after victory. So she really is a waste of time unless she is winning the battle. The debate I've had with people about her is they use her to attack monsters on the map. And that's all well and good to attack monsters on the map. But when you attack monsters on the map compared to hitting an epic squad, all of your troops are going to die on an epic attack, but you're going to gain 10 multiples of the attack benefit you're getting in valor points against an epic squad, even though all of your army dies, versus some of your troops dying in an attack with Doria. And the bonus or benefit in valor points that you're going to get from her, unless she has been fully starred, at top stars, she's only giving a 35% valor bonus. And that 35% is not on top of the bonus that she's getting for her level. That's a 35% bonus from her base value of 0. Okay, so it's a 35% bonus on the base value of 0, basically. So if she gets to level 500, for example, which is the top level in the game, that 35% isn't on top of her 500 level or her 250% that she would get. It's on the base value of 0. So for me, Captain Doria is something that you can use to farm valor points early in the game. But there is a point at which you will realize that you're going to get more valor points and experience points from attacking monsters and killing all your troops than you are by using her hitting 50 or 60 monsters. Do you know what I mean? It's for her to gain what you're going to gain from a couple of attacks where all of your troops die and you rebuild again. For her going to attack monsters to give you that valor points bonus, she's going to have to attack hundreds of monsters daily to be able to get to the same valor point bonus, if I'm making myself clear. So for me, Captain Doria is only beneficial to use if you're going to be attacking a monster on the map that maybe you can kill without any of your troops dying. I've given an example of her on the video I did where I was farming valor points using her and wyverns. So I would use 5 or 6 wyverns. Go and have a look at that video. I'll put it up in the top corner here. I put a link to it, and you can see where she can go and attack monsters on the map using wyverns, which are the top mercenary in the game. You'll only get when you get to G6 troops. You can use other ones, but again, there's a couple of videos there on it. And she basically attacks them and you lose no troops. But because you're attacking such small level monsters, you're only getting like maybe 4 million or 5 million or 6 million valor points in total. Where if you were to send Captain A-Day with 2 stacks of guardsmen against an epic squad, you could be getting 10 times that in valor points, albeit your army is dying. But if you're only using troops that are created from silver, and you have the silver to be able to do that, that is 100% the way to go, because when you get to a higher level and you're up to the 100 million or 200 million or higher mark might level, that is all you're going to be doing in this game to grow quickly. You're going to be attacking epics after epics after epics. It's not about killing the monster, it's about getting as many valor points out of it as you possibly can. As you can see, if you go to any kingdom now where there is Ragnarok running, they are all attacking these monsters over and over and over again, because that is what they want to do. They want to collect valor points. Valor points are what is going to drive your might and improve your troops as you go in the game. So yeah, look, that for me is the important captains in the game when you're at a low level. Even at low level, Captain A-Day is really, really important. I said earlier on about there being 2 captains, top 2, top 3. Captain A-Day would be your top captain for attacks, okay? You're going to use her over anything when you start the game. Number 2 is Captain Carter. And number 3, at an early stage in the game, is probably Captain Farhad, okay? So you say, why are all the other captains in the game even there? To be honest, that's a great question. And whether I can answer that or not in an explanation that makes sense to you and why I have spent such little time on these other captains, or why some of them are higher than other ones. I'll try and explain it now. If you are set out at the start of the game and you want to grow fast, epics are the way to go. If you are not, and you're not intending on spending any money on the game, and you want as little damage to your troops in attacks as possible, then you can do what I mentioned earlier, and you can pick captains that will give you boosts against monsters on the world map. Just normal monsters. You will attack them with troops. Some troops will die in the attack, but not all of them. It will be a very small valor point gathering experience by doing that, as in you're not going to get many valor points. But if you're using a couple of captains that have benefits over certain monsters on the map, you will find that after attacking maybe 30, 40, 50 monsters, you might have gathered 100 million valor points, and that obviously is going to benefit you to level up your troops. You do need to remember to spend some of the valor points wisely, okay? And by that, I mean, if you come into the academy research, you can see all the researches here. Everybody is going to be pushing towards getting better guardsmen at the start of the game, and it is important. You want to be obviously getting past level 1, which is achievable quite quickly if you do a few monster attacks. You're then up to your level 2 guardsmen, and then level 3. Ideally from level 3 and level 2 you can send 2 stacks of monsters. Try and always get into a habit of sending stacks. Don't get into a habit of just sending one troop type to attack a monster, because if you can't one-shot, and by one-shot I mean if you can't kill all of those monsters in that attacking squad in one go, for example, there's 2 squads here. If I sent my lowest level captain and he could only kill 3,000 of the first squad, that squad then will get an attack back against me. If I sent 4 squads, then the first squad would get an attack, then the second squad would get an attack, and the third squad, and subsequently that may be enough to kill that squadron, okay? Then there's only 1 squad left. So the more stacks you send, the more chance you have of having less losses in the game. The game is based on maths. It's a mathematical algorithm that you can work out how to attack. But again, just be vigilant to check out. Don't just send flat all ranged units, or ranged units and mounted units and melee units. When you look at the monsters, see what they have bonuses against. Their features are bonuses against your troops. So you do not want to send mounted units, okay? Because they are going to have a plus 40% damage, strength damage against all of your mounted units that you send in their squads. Look at the second monster in that group. They're going to have a plus 30% bonus against your melee units. So you don't want to send melee, and you don't want to send mounted. You want to send probably ranged units and maybe flying units if you had them as well. So it's just important to look at that, and that is how you will progress early in the game. So in that case, if you were attacking this squad, for example, you know that you don't want mounted units and you don't want melee units. So you want to pick both troops and captain to pair with that. So no mounted, no melee. Let's have a look at our captains and give us our options. So if we want to send ranged units, because we know mounted and melee are a big no-no, Captain Brann would be the captain to send, okay, because he gives bonuses to ranged units, and we know that the monster on the map is not going to get bonuses against your ranged units. He will still kill your troops that are ranged units, but he won't get any extra bonuses. In this case, you're going to be looking at sending him because he gives a bonus to ranged units, and then you go and look at your troop to pair them with that captain. So, for example, you go in and look at your ranged units and you see he has bonuses against melee units and against flying units. So all your ranged units are going to get a bonus against them. You go back into this monster squad again and you have a look here and you can see that he is a melee unit, That's great. That means that your ranged units are going to get a boost against the melee units. And this unit is a ranged unit, so they won't get any extra boosts, but they will obviously still do damage to it. So you know that sending ranged units would be useful in this case. Looking at that, he's a ranged unit, so you want to go, what gives a bonus against ranged units? We know that mounted units give a bonus against ranged units, so you go, well, that's good, I could send those. But we also know that in this monster squad, the first squadron gives a bonus against mounted units, so you don't want to send mounted units. So in that attack, in that position, you would be sending 2 stacks or maybe 3 stacks of archers only, because archers are going to give the bonus against the main troop. You're going to be using Captain Bernard, because Captain Bernard is going to give your ranged units a boost. And that basically is how you set yourself up. You look at your captain, you look at the benefits that he's going to give against the monsters, and you're going to pick him with a troop that will benefit you in the attack. So those units that you have, those attacking captains that you have, the likes of Lucius, mounted units bonus, Yi Ho Sung, melee units bonus, Captain Bernard, ranged units bonus, and Captain Brann obviously gives an engineer corps bonus. Then you're on to your legendary captains. Again, your legendary captains you won't really use. To understand and to work well in this game, you just need to concentrate on certain captains. You don't need to go across the board and waste time on all these other captains when you aren't going to use them. It's all about strength, and strength in this game is what basically gets you the most valor points and XP points. So I know this is started out by a video to do with all the captains in the game, and you can see all the captains in the game, but there is no right or wrong way to use them if you concentrate on the most important ones. Captain A-Day is your attacking captain from the start of the game. Level her up and strengthen her as much as possible. If you aren't spending any money on the game, you want to do similar to your other attacking captain, Captain Logos, because when you do eventually get specialists in the game, you will use your specialists as meat shields. And by that, I mean you are going to use them in stacks with guardsmen, and you want your specialists to be the one that take the damage so your guardsmen can get repeated hits. That's all about stacking. I have a video out on that. Go and have a look at that when you get a chance. I'll put a link to it up here. But if you can understand that and do stacking early on in the game, don't be sending Doria to do attacks that she's going to die in. It's pointless. Yeah, sure, you're going to level her up maybe, but unless you're doing attacks with her, just one-on-one attacks with mercenaries, as I've done in the valor point farming video, or with monsters or troops that you are winning the battle, you're really not going to be getting much valor points from her. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this. It's all about the attacking captains. You can see the legendary captains. If you can get them, 100%, the top captain in the game after Captain A-Day, if you're spending money, is Captain Cleopatra. Cleopatra will give you a strength to your entire army, again, dependent on the level that she is in the game. The bonuses that you get by starring her up are far superior to the ones that you're going to get when you star up Captain A-Day. But this is the strength of your entire army, not just your guardsmen. So again, if you can afford to get Captain Cleopatra, then 100% go for her. The two captains that I don't have, and some people have, anybody who's spending a lot of money in this game, have gone and got Captain Skadi, whatever you want to call her. She's basically Captain A-Day on PCP. She basically is giving your guardsmen a massive boost in strength and health compared to Captain A-Day. But if you started out this game early on, you're not going to want to spend money. The money you're going to need to get her, you can only get her during the seasonal kingdom event. And believe you me, if you're going to do that, you are wasting your time even spending a minute of this game on your normal account. You're better off just starting this game when Seasonal Kingdom starts, getting into a clan and just basically crash coursing the whole game on speed up in Seasonal Kingdom. So she can only be got in Seasonal Kingdom, and Captain Beowulf can only be got in Seasonal Kingdom as well. Basically, he gives a boost of health and strength to the entire army. So he basically is like Captain Cleopatra. Cleopatra you can get for a small amount of cost, but again, Captain Beowulf, you must do Seasonal Kingdom to get him. You can't get him otherwise. And to star him up, you can only get the fragments to star him up in Seasonal Kingdom. You can get the fragments to star up Captain A-Day in the Summoning Circle, which I'll show you shortly, and Captain Cleopatra you can also get in the Summoning Circle. To star her up, they are starring her up will cost you some money, but it is beneficial to you to get her. So for me, if you really want to go on the attack and get through this game quickly, level up quickly, get to a stage where you've got so strong that you can leave the clan that you're in and go to a bigger clan. Always try and go to a clan that's a little bit better than you are. If you go into a clan and you're really pushing hard and you're maybe buying mercenary packs from the packs in the Total Battle game, to be able to drive on, you will definitely do better in a stronger and a more working clan. By working clan, I mean a clan where everybody in that clan is trying to better themselves and improve in the game. If you're in a clan that people are just playing maybe an hour a day or a couple of hours every couple of days, or they aren't online for days at a time, you are missing out and losing out by staying in that clan. It's not a good idea. You are much better off, regardless of what friends you've made. If you've made friends that have a similar mindset to you, that you are trying to drive your account and you're trying to grow as fast as possible, bring them with you. Come to my Discord server. I have a channel on the Discord server that is all about players getting recruited by other clans. You can put in details about the guardsman level you have, how active you are playing daily or weekly, etc., etc. And somebody will come and be happy for you to be in their clan, because they will want players who want to better themselves and grow in the game. So that really is the main attacking captains in the game that you want to really put your time into. Again, if you're not spending money or spending very little in the game, Captain A-Day, Captain Logos for sure are two of the better attacking captains that you want to work on. You can see I've done a lot of work on Captain Brunhild, but that's because early on in the game I did a lot of conquest points runs and I helped other players. They attacked my flying units and they got benefits from that. The stronger my flying captains are, i.e. Wu Zetian, who gives bonuses to your flying units, Captain Brunhild, who also gives bonuses to your flying units, and Captain A-Day, who would give bonuses to your guardsmen health and strength. When I'm using flying units, they're generally either Corax, which are the top level, Corax 1 or Corax 2, or Griffins. And Griffins are all guardsmen. Corax are guardsmen as well. So that's why I have those three captains at such a high level. After that, you have another captain in the game who is definitely worth working on at the start, and you will level him up further as you progress in the game, and that's Captain Stror. Captain Stror gives an army carrying capacity and, more importantly, a resource gathering speed bonus on the world map. What I mean by that is, if you need to mine tar in Wellspring Ruins, or you get to mine gold, dragon mounds, you can use Captain Stror and he will speed up the speed basically at which you gather those materials in both of those scenarios. You can also use them when you're mining. So if overnight you need to mine silver, you build a silver mine beside your city or nearby, you want to send Captain Stror, because he will be able to both carry more of silver depending on the size of the silver mine, but more importantly, the speed at which he gathers the silver from that mine is also important. So that is what Captain Stror is useful for. He's also useful when you move on in the game, when you're attacking other players and you're looking for silver to steal from other cities. you can use him to go and get more of that silver in one attack than you would do if you were using just your normal captains. So he definitely is something that you will benefit from leveling up further on in the game. He's not too important at the start. Again, most of these captains, if you get them to around level 100 early on in the game, they will be beneficial, and he is beneficial when he is mining. After that, you have another legendary captain. She won't really come into play until you progress in the game. But Captain Helen will give you a food production speed and a troop training speed. This again is very important. We use Captain Helen a lot in Seasonal Kingdom because the troop training speed was important when you're trying to train troops and you are starting to grow in the game. The more troops you have, the more attacks you can do consecutively, okay? The food production speed obviously is really important too as you grow in the game, because you will always find that as you train troops, if you train too many, you're going to go into the red in your food, and by doing that, you're going to push up the price, the cost to actually build troops with silver. So your food production speed is important, but Helen, again, not early on in the game. She is a captain that it costs you to purchase, but she will definitely become beneficial as you grow in the game. Not something you're going to need at the start. Again, we fall down to then some other legendary captains. Minamoto, for example, he's basically the next step up. He's the legendary captain to compare to Captain Bernard, who you get earlier on in the game. Captain Minamoto will give you a boost to all your ranged units. Again, I have him at a high level because I used to do CP runs. And I did CP runs with just one troop type, i.e. all archers. So I just had one stack of archers, and I would take Captain Bernard, Captain Minamoto, and I think I took at the time Captain Ade along with my hero, and I would give them all ranged gear. So they would all get bonuses in strength for the ranged units, and I would use them to attack player with flying units, because ranged units get bonuses against flying units. You'll see that in the troop stats. So that's what I used him for. 3 attacking captains giving bonuses to ranged units and guardsmen, because guardsmen were archers, were guardsmen, and that's what I used those 3 captains for. Again, you pair these captains with the correct gear. In this case, where you can, if you can make special gear, epic gear, you use it to make ranged gear with ranged captains, melee gear with melee captains, mounted gear with mounted captains. Always try and pair it up. Or obviously you can also use it with guardsman gear. So you can also use, let's say you had Minamoto there. If you didn't have the range gear, that you couldn't make range gear, you could instead maybe change it to some of the guardsman gear. So basically you have Captain Ade there. I know I have her set out with the guardsman gear, but what I mean by that, if I just go into the actual forge, you can see here, so you've got guardsman's courage. So the guardsman's courage gives your guardsman's strength, guardsman's health. That it's not useful for specialists, because specialists are specialists' authority. They give specialists strength. The gear, that's the standard equipment. I'm talking about unique equipment here, and the unique equipment you can pick it for melee units, for flying units, for your mounted units, for your ranged units. Okay. Omniscience gear is there for a special gear for crypt exploration, and will give you a boost to your epic crypt gear. But going back and not getting away from the point of the captains, they basically are your important captains in the game. There is no point, in my opinion, and if I went back and played this game again, you would probably see that I may not even pick Bernard. I may not even pick Sophia. I certainly wouldn't pick Brann. Brann, for me, is a captain that is totally worthwhile overlooking and not using in the game. He gives strength and health to your engineer corps, your siege engines. There are many things they're called in the game, catapults. There is no real benefit to using him, because the point that you will use him for is to take down walls of a city. without him, and if you don't use him or you don't use siege engines, you basically might die. Your troops might die when they're attacking a city if the walls are very strong. There are ways around it. You don't attack a city maybe that has walls up. Maybe the walls are burning and you can still attack it. A lot of players in the game nowadays, bar some of the big players, will normally always leave their city on fire. They're not really interested in rebuilding walls. For example, there's a city there that is on fire, and if somebody attacked it, you probably find that they are there, their troops are there, but they tend to leave the walls down. Some players will leave their walls up and they think they're going to benefit from it. Anybody can get over a wall, a large player, but you can see even shields, players that are underneath shields here, they haven't repaired their walls because people will attack them and basically they will destroy your walls anyway. The only other point at which you would or might use Brann earlier on in the game, but you do need to have them at a high enough level, is when you are attacking citadels. But there are ways to attack citadels. When you're attacking an elven citadel, and I won't go into this in big details because I will link to a channel in the description of the video below about a chat channel that is on the in the game itself. It's called Wolf's Citadels. I'll leave it up on the screen here for you to see. And in Wolf's Citadels, there are guys in there that understand absolutely perfectly how an attack against a citadel should work, what troops you should use, what way you should stack them, what monsters you should use, and or mercs you should use. They are so clever. There is so much help. A couple of players in that, I've mentioned it before in videos. I won't go into details of who they are because there's a lot of guys on there who have a lot of knowledge and will help you out. If you want to be able to attack citadels, it does not matter about you having bonuses or extra health or strength to your siege engines, i.e. your catapults, because you are not going to be using Captain Brann to attack the citadels. You will be using the likes of your strength captains and health captains, i.e. Captain Ramses is useful when attacking citadels because he gives a boost to the health of your army. But if you go in there, you will see what they are all about. Wolf Citadels, definitely worth looking up. You can put a post in there of an attack you did on a citadel, whether it be a level 10 or a level 15 if you're a low level, low might player, a new player to the game. And they will look at your attack and tell you either you can or can't attack the citadel and remain lossless, or they will look at your attack and say, yes, you need to just change X, Y, and Z, and you'll be able to attack and kill that citadel without any troop loss. Brann, for me, is a waste of valor points, and on top of that, your academy research, until you reach the point that you have lots of spare valor points. You want to spend as much valor points as possible in your guardsmen section and in your archaeology section. Archaeology is so important. The benefits you get from exploring a crypt twice, exploration efficiency for the normal crypts. This is where you need to be putting your valor points into here. It's so important to have your valor points put in to crypting and then as well into guardsmen. Don't bother wasting your time putting valor points into catapults or your walls. Believe me, there is no point in spending valor points on upgrading your city walls until you have maybe reached a couple of 100 million might, because no matter what size your walls are, you will not ever prevent a player from attacking and killing you. You may prevent a smaller player, but invariably in this game you will get attacked by players at least double, if not tens of times higher than your might level. If they find you have silver, they will come, they will take your walls out, they will take your silver. So for me, in my honest opinion, save your valor points for other things. Leave engineer core clear. You do not want to waste your time there. As I say, you get to a certain point, then you can pile lots of valor points in there, but you will find that you won't need it. It's not necessary. Engineer Corps, for me, can be skipped in the game. I know I have other people who might come on and totally disagree with me. And that's their view. If they want to make a video on that, work away, be my guest. So for me, Engineer Corps, not important. And therefore, Captain Brann is not important. Hence why I only have him up to level, where is he? 108. So he's down as low or lower than my Captain Farhad. He's more important in the game. Aurora, obviously, I had built a lot prior to getting there because I was in a great clan when I started off this account, and I got a lot of help there. Clan and clan is so important. I think that pretty much sums up most of the captains in the game. There's a couple more I could just touch on, but they're not ones that you're going to have to worry about early on. Captain Proscope is an excellent captain for your scouts. And what you'll see a lot happen in the game as you are growing and learning and playing the game, you invariably will get scouted by players that are huge compared to your might level, and you'll wonder why are they scouting? What are they looking for? They're always looking for silver. You will very rarely get attacked for having a lot of wood or stone or iron, because those resources are fairly straightforward and easy to come across in the game. It's rare that you will need to mine those resources. On that point, there's no point in my mind of you having to mine stone, wood, or iron in this game. No matter what kingdom you're in, the bigger players get these resources in massive quantities, and it is totally useless to them. If you're in a kingdom where you have clans and players like myself that will help smaller players, I've seen it many a time happen. They may have all of their troops may be dead because they attacked an epic squad 10 times or 15 times, and instead of them rebuilding the troops, sometimes you will get large players that will go, come and take the resources from my city. They won't have silver to give away because they'll need to use silver, but they invariably will just basically drop their walls, and they will let other players, smaller clans and smaller players in the kingdom, attack them just to take all of the resources they have. They will open billions of resources. They will sit in a central place in the kingdom or somewhere in the kingdom where it's easy to access them. You can open a portal beside there and you'll be able to attack them. They won't revive their troops. They'll leave their account maybe sitting there for an hour or two, and you'll be able to attack repeatedly and get all of the resources they have. That's something nice that players can do in kingdoms. It happens a lot in the kingdom I am in now, K148. Our main clan, biggest clan here, Hype, HYP, shout out to them. They often do that. The players there will have lots of resources to give away, and they will let you take them. To get back to Proscope. Proscope is somebody that you will use further on in the game. And as I was saying, players will come and scout your city to see whether you have silver worth stealing or not. They will use Captain Proscope in a lot of instances. The reason they use him is he gives a bonus to the scout's health and strength. Again, it is double what his level would be, but that is down to the fact that he is a rare captain. So Captain Proscope is definitely a captain worth getting in the game. As you progress, only when you have got the hero Aaron, who can water walk, and this is hero Aaron here. She basically can go to any kingdoms on the world map without having to be during kingdom versus kingdom, or without you having to use a portal to open in another kingdom. She basically water walks across all of the seas and can go to any kingdom. When you have her and you've decided you want to start attacking other cities out of your kingdom, that is the time that you're going to start wanting to use Proscope. It's as simple as that. There's one other captain that's worth talking about because he can be used in several different disguises. Basically, Captain Tengel gives a march range and a march speed boost. Okay, it is only half of his level, so it's not a massive boost to it. But if you were, I'm just trying to think where you might use them. You could use them in attacks along with Captain Proscope, where you're scouting a city, because he's going to give that march a speed boost. So basically, on top of the fact that scouts are the fastest troop in the game, bar none. Scouts are the fastest. After that, flying units are the fastest. After that, mounted units are the fastest. They're the three fastest from 1 through 3. By using Captain Tengel, you can increase your march speed, but you can also increase your march range. Where you could also use Captain Tengel, and I see some people use them, are during the mercenary exchanges. So during Kingdom versus Kingdom, or just before Kingdom versus Kingdom, and during Clash for the Throne, you will go to mercenary exchanges and trying to get mercenaries for silver. That is a time to use Captain Tengel, because he will give you a boost to the march distance that you can go. So if somebody showed you a mercenary exchange that was maybe 4 or 5 kingdoms north or south of your location, and by selecting one of the normal captains, it tells you that the march time is exceeded. If you go and click on Captain Tengel, you might find that your range isn't exceeded. You can actually go that distance with him. There are some people actually who also use Captain Tengel when they're attacking citadels. Citadels, as you know, if you go to attack a citadel, you will find that it is much slower to be able to attack a citadel than it is if you were just attacking monsters on the map. Usually that's because you're bringing siege engines, and siege engines, the opposite of scouts, are the slowest unit to use to attack on the world map. You can obviously speed that up doing academy research, etc., but they will never be faster. They will always be the slowest unit on the map. You can, of course, use a lower level siege engine, because the higher the siege engine is, the higher the level the siege engine is, the slower they are. So as you can see here on the top siege engine in the game, you can have a look here and see speed. So that speed is 23. All right. So where people might level up the siege engines if they decide to use them against citadels, the lower you go down the siege engines, the faster they become. So for example, when I'm doing citadels, sometimes if I'm doing an attack against cursed citadels, against elven citadels, your siege engines will always get targeted by the centaur. But as I say, if you have a chat with the guys in wolf citadels, they'll be able to help you around that. But if you were attacking a cursed citadel, the cursed citadels have a stronger wall than the elven citadels do. So you would think, why would I not use these siege engines? And I don't use them because their speed is so slow. Okay, speed is 23. What I do is I go down as far as level 4 siege engines. It means I have to take a lot more of them, but compared to 23, their speed is 38. And even if I wanted to go a little bit lower again and have to take maybe 3 to 4 times what I'm taking for level 4, I've now got up to a speed of level 43. If I really wanted to go down even lower again, but I'd have to take I'd probably have to take 50 or 60,000 of these siege engines, which just would be pointless. I'm now up to a speed of 47. So you can see that there are ways, but I have paired this with the speed of my monsters. So my monsters are the next slowest unit to take in an attack. So if I took monsters, which I do against citadels, because I can one-shot them, I take these siege engines because the monster's speed is around 38 or 39 as well. So there's no point in me going with a faster siege engine because my siege engine here is the same speed as the monsters. So there's no benefit to it. So this just gets me to a citadel quicker. And if I use Captain Tengel as well, as I just mentioned, he obviously will help me speed up the march depending on the level that he is at. Okay. That's basically the only other captain in here that I hadn't spoken about. you've other legendary captains here. Again, they're not important to use. You don't need to use them. If my go-to attack or scouting setup is Captain Ji Guiying, if that's how you pronounce her, because she gives me a scout's strength boost, okay, which is double her level. So 466, she's level 233. I pair her up with some specialist gear, and she basically is one of the captains I use when I'm scouting a bigger player. I also use Captain Proscope because, again, he gives the scouts bonus for health and strength. So now I've got a good, strong set of scouts. And again, if I'm scouting a really big player, I will also use Captain Logos because, again, he is going to give a boost to the health and strength of specialists, and scouts are specialist troops. Lastly, then, obviously, I'd send my hero, possibly not, but I usually have him set up with a decent set of specialist gear. I don't have it on him at the minute, but you can see that I do have a set of specialist gear that I can put onto him. So that really is a breakdown of the captains in the game. I will touch on two more that aren't or weren't in the window. And those two are Captain Dustan. Now, Captain Dustan is a captain that you will use as you progress in the game. He gives a conquest points bonus. And what that means basically is when you attack another player, instead of getting valor points, you get conquest points. And by getting conquest points, you can use them in the Academy research to boost your army modernization and your monsters. You can also use it to progress your specialist troops. So he is definitely a captain that you want to start including once you start attacking other players, because he will come into his own then and will give you that extra little boost. It's not a massive amount, but as he progresses in the game and as you level him up, that level, that bonus will improve. Obviously, as you star him up as well, you will get a bonus from that too. So he is important, but not important at the start of the game when you're not attacking other players, okay? If you wanted a guess as to when you might start using him, probably if you're going to start using Aaron Hero, then you want to start including him because he will give you a conquest point bonus when you're attacking other players. But he's not going to give you a strength bonus against them. That's where you're normally talking about using Logos. Okay, so he's useful, but the bonus he gives isn't a massive amount, but you will be expected to use him when you start doing clan bonus runs, clan conquest point bonus runs, okay? That's where he is active and that's where he is useful, pretty much the only point he is, okay? Next to him, one of the other very important captains to use in the game when you get her, because she is a legendary captain, that is Captain Amanitore. She gives a boost in the features of two things. She gives a boost to your clan marches, i.e. if you're sending troops to another player in your clan and they're attacking another city, she will give a strength boost to your army in that group march. So when you use Captain Amanitore and you're attacking another player, so for example, you send your troops with Captain Amanitore, maybe your hero and two other captains, to another player in your clan, and they send an attack from their city against another player, for example, during Kingdom versus Kingdom, or Clash for the Throne, if Clash for the Throne is active in your kingdom, which it would be, obviously, in closed kingdoms. By using her, you will get a boost to your health of your army during a group march like that, during a clan march, okay? She will also give a boost to the strength of your army on group marches in the same respect, okay? So you also get a boost, and again, it's dependent on the star level that she is, plus the level that she actually is in the game, okay? So you can see here, You can see here in the stats, so her star level is giving a strength of your army on group marches of 210% and a strength of a boost of health in your army on group marches to the same level as the star level I have for her. Okay, 210 being the top, 150, 90, etc., etc. Okay. The extra bonuses obviously that you get against guardsmen are down to the gear that I have on. This gear obviously is gear I got from Seasonal Kingdom, and any strength bonuses that you get from artifacts. I did do a video on artifacts actually, and I have it up here. I'll put a link to it there. The other place that you will find the Captain Amanitore is useful is during raids. So she will also give a health and a strength boost to your army when she is on a raid. And that raid meaning when you're attacking, for example, Jormungandr squad during Ragnarok, or you're attacking the Chimera squad during the Trials of Olympus event. Okay, that again is where you're sending an army, a captain, with an army to another player, and they are attacking from their city, again attacking the Chimera squad. So that's where you would use her again. She will give you, and if all of your clan members, the 5 members on that march, all use Captain Amanitore at the same time, you're getting a massive strength and health bonus. If somebody doesn't use her during those marches, you're not getting as much of a strength and health bonus as you could possibly have. So she is definitely a captain worth getting as you're growing in the game. Okay, I think that pretty much wraps up all the captains in the game. At an hour and 20 I'm on this video now, it'll be a little bit less when I edit it. That pretty much covers them all. It covers them all by my opinion of when and where to use them if I started this game again. So your important attacking captains, you now know what they are when you start the game out, and as you progress you know what captains you want to concentrate on. But for me, you will never go wrong by pushing as much valor points and as much experience points into Captain Carter from an early stage. You will benefit from it greatly as you progress in this game. You will definitely be welcomed into clans for the benefit that your Captain Carter gives you and how much tar you get to gain and keep by having a strong, starred and leveled and gear equipped Captain Carter. So that's a good place to end that video on. I hope that has helped. Until the next one, until the next live stream indeed, I would just like to thank you all for watching, being supporting the channel. Please like and subscribe. I will try and get another couple of videos out in the coming weeks, but I'm doing a lot of live streams now. I think we're getting a lot more fun and they're becoming more interesting. I will try and set chapters out in this video as well to make it a little bit easier to bounce around and look at captains if there's captains specific to you or what you want to use. So until the next one, thanks for watching. Until the next video, Curf, peace out.